for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. When Katt Williams walked into that courtroom, nobody laughed. The man known for outrageous jokes and viral rants was suddenly under oath, and what he said had the entire industry on edge. For years, Katt had been calling out names: Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, T.D. Jakes, Ricky Smiley. People dismissed him as crazy. But now, those same names are appearing in legal documents tied to the Diddy investigation. In court, Katt confirmed it all: the parties, the NDAs, the hidden cameras, the careers bought and sold under one man's empire. And he didn't just mention Diddy, he exposed an entire web of celebrities who played their part to rise to the top. This wasn't a comedy special. It was a warning, because Katt Williams didn't just pull receipts. He made sure the whole world saw them, and the people he called out may never recover from what he revealed. The courtroom didn't know what to make of it at first. Reporters whispered. Social media went into chaos. But there he was, Katt Williams, suited up and solemn, walking through the courtroom doors not as a comedian, but as a federal witness. No entourage, no fanfare, just a folder in one hand and a stare that could pierce through concrete. When he sat down and was sworn in, the courtroom hushed to full silence. And then, with the same voice that once brought down theaters and laughter, he began. He told the court that everything they were about to hear wasn't new to him. He'd been saying it for over a decade, but people ignored him because of how he packaged the truth. When you make people laugh, they forget to listen, he said. But I wasn't just telling jokes. I was slipping facts between the punchlines. Katt explained that years ago, he started noticing a pattern: the same group of celebrities getting invited to the same exclusive events, disappearing for a time, then returning with movie deals, awards, or distribution contracts. Then he dropped his first bombshell. The court leaned in, Katt went on to say, that Diddy wasn't just a music mogul. He was the gatekeeper to a darker part of Hollywood. And then he said something chilling. With that, the stage was set. The court knew this wasn't going to be a typical witness testimony. This was going to be a storm, and every name caught in it was about to feel the wind. Katt didn't flinch when asked to provide names, and he started listing them. One by one: Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Ludacris, LeBron James, T.D. Jakes, Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. Each name sent shockwaves through the room. These weren't tabloid regulars or vague associates. These were some of the biggest figures in the entertainment world. Katt claimed they had all attended parties, events, or meetings hosted or facilitated by Diddy, and that those parties weren't the glamorous Hollywood get-togethers. The public believed they were. These parties, he said, weren't about celebration. They were about initiation. He explained that Diddy used the parties to build leverage. Phones were taken, NDAs were signed, cameras were still rolling, hidden. Katt claimed Diddy kept dirt on everyone: tapes, photos, emails, and used it as insurance. And then he pointed out the patterns. Actors getting sudden green lights on films, comedians landing stadium tours with no prior build-up, musicians appearing on radio with no promotion, but instant support from Diddy-affiliated stations. Katt finished that part of his testimony with this: if there was one name that sent visible discomfort through the courtroom, it was Tyler Perry. And Katt knew it. He locked eyes with Diddy, then turned to the jury and said, he began by clarifying. Katt alleged that Tyler Perry's initial rise, his breakout plays, his first studio deals, and even his initial film premieres were all supported by Diddy's network behind the scenes. He didn't just find success, he was ushered into it. He claimed that early screenings of Diary of a Mad Black Woman and Ma's Family Reunion had bad boy staffers coordinating press passes and booking celebrities. That wasn't random, that was planned. They gave him a path in exchange for loyalty. Then Katt dropped another twist. He alleged that Tyler, once fully embraced by Hollywood, began distancing himself from anyone who could call out the truth. He didn't want the world to know who helped him rise, because then people would ask why. Katt also mentioned several actors who changed drastically after working with Perry, Lamb, and Rucker. Time and Durant. Finally, Katt dropped the line that would go viral within minutes. He paused, then said, Katt Williams didn't hesitate when Kevin Hart's name came up. He looked at the jury and said, Katt claimed that Kevin Hart's meteoric rise wasn't just because of hard work and talent. He leaned in. Katt then addressed the infamous line that lit up the internet. His statement about turning down $50 million to keep his integrity and his virgin whole. He clarified it was more than a punchline. According to Katt, Kevin Hart's career surge began shortly after his involvement with certain producers tied to Diddy's investment network. Katt revealed that Kevin was also spotted at multiple private Diddy-hosted parties, including one in Miami in 2013 that allegedly had a gold room setup identical to what Cassie Ventura had testified about in her own case. But the real twist came when Katt said Kevin wasn't just a party guest. He was a handler. He was the smiling face, the distraction. He helped make new recruits feel safe, comfortable. That's why he was always in the room, but never caught in the footage. Katt stated that when he refused a similar offer, he started getting blocked. Deals disappeared. Tours got canceled. Meanwhile, Kevin's getting greenlit for Ride-Along, Night School, Jumanji. He ended with a cold truth. Katt's attention then turned to two more names he claimed had everything to do with Diddy's rise, and whose careers were used to normalize the power structure behind the scenes: Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. He started with Ricky. Katt revealed that Ricky's breakthrough into TV and film came only after he attended a series of Atlanta-based parties hosted by Puffy's Southern team. They weren't open invite, they were groomed list. People who could be useful, people who could be silent, people who would comply. Then came the bombshell. Katt claimed that Ricky's first Sunday role, where he appeared in a wig and dress, was the exact condition he placed to expose the pattern. Then came Steve Harvey. Katt called him the godfather of commercial obedience. He alleged that Steve climbed through the ranks not only by playing the media game, but by playing the silence game. He saw what Diddy was doing, and instead of saying anything, he brought his daughter to dinner with the man. Katt referenced Lori Harvey's much-discussed relationship with Diddy and how Steve stood next to him smiling even after his daughter had previously dated Diddy's son Justin. He also accused Steve of stealing ideas, including a TV pitch that Katt had circulated in the early 2000s. Katt didn't hold back. The courtroom tensed when Katt said the next name, T.D. Jakes. He didn't laugh. He didn't smirk. He said it slowly, like someone loading the final round into a chamber. He accused Diddy's PR team of using the church as a shield, not a sanctuary. Katt said T.D. Jakes offered a holy filter for the darkest corners of entertainment. He claimed that Jakes personally discouraged several gospel artists from speaking out about what they saw at crossover events tied to bad boy entertainment. They were told to keep quiet, that it would damage the church's outreach.
But what about
the victims? Then came the accusation that made headlines. Katt stated that church donations, million-dollar checks, and press-worthy charity events were all part of the cover. And if you were a spiritual leader who asked too many questions, you got pushed out. You didn't get airtime, you didn't get publishing deals. Katt even claimed T.D. Jakes knew about a celebrity sex scandal tied to one of Diddy's assistants, but refused to go public. He ended with this. Katt Williams looked directly at the jury, then at the prosecutors, and said calmly, he explained that for years, people whispered about what went down at Diddy's infamous parties. The candles, the gold rooms, the celebrities entering one way and leaving changed. But the real secret wasn't what happened. It was how it was recorded. Katt testified that multiple insiders told him about high-tech surveillance built into the homes and hotels used for Diddy's private events. According to Katt, the point wasn't just security, it was leverage. He said that several top celebrities confided in him over the years, not just about what they witnessed, but about footage that allegedly existed. Katt refused to name him, but said the fear was real. He brought up the now infamous quote from Ashton Kutcher: "What happens at a Diddy party stays at a Diddy party." And then Katt asked the courtroom. He connected these recordings to the sudden silence of many stars. Artists who once hinted at something darker only to vanish, suddenly pivot genres, or start philanthropic rebranding. Katt explained, that's why so many stars stay silent. They've seen what happens when you speak, so they stay in line. They take the deals, they keep smiling. He ended with a heavy statement. Narrator as Katt stood for his final words, the courtroom. It wasn't just listening, it was holding its breath. He looked toward Diddy, then back at the jury. He said the entertainment industry had become a factory of silence where loyalty was bought with money, fear, or footage. He called out the record labels, the executives, the handlers, and the gatekeepers. Katt then dropped one final devastating truth. He turned to the judge. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. Katt continued, softer now. He looked into the crowd, his voice trembling. Narrator, as Katt stepped down from the stand. There was no applause, no cameras, just silence, the kind that only follows when truth finally cuts through the noise. As Katt moved toward the courtroom exit, the judge called out, "Mr. Williams, is there anything else you'd like to add for the record?" Katt paused. He turned back slowly, as if the weight of decades had been lifted, but not removed. He took a deep breath, then pointed his finger. Not at one person, but at the room itself. He continued. Katt then walked closer to the jury box, lowering his voice. He raised his voice one last time. He stepped back, nodded once at the judge, then walked out of the courtroom, not with fanfare, not with applause, but with something much heavier, truth, and behind that truth, a warning. Everything that was hidden is now in the ... thumb_up_down. Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following content is presented for educational and entertainment purposes only. Drawing from purported accounts, this is framed as the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by the independent outlet Inner City Press. Known for its unvarnished chronicling of courtroom dramas, the air in federal court was already thick with anticipation, a cocktail of media frenzy and legal gravitas. But on this particular day, an unexpected shift was about to occur. When Katt Williams walked into that courtroom, nobody laughed. The usual murmur of reporters, the rustle of legal pads, even the slight coughs seemed to die in the throat. The man known for outrageous jokes, viral rants, and a persona that often blurred the line between comedic genius and chaotic provocateur was suddenly jarringly under oath. His very presence was an anomaly, a stark contrast to the staid environment, and what he proceeded to say, in measured, deliberate tones, had the entire entertainment industry, and those who followed its gilded chronicles, on the very edge of their seats. For years, Katt had been a Cassandra, calling out names that seemed untouchable. Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, T.D. Jakes, Ricky Smiley. People, both within the industry and among the public, had largely dismissed him. Crazy, unstable. Clout-chasing the labels were as predictable as they were effective in marginalizing his claims. But now, in the stark, unforgiving light of a federal investigation into Sean Diddy Combs, those same names were reportedly appearing in legal documents, whispered in affidavits, hinted at in depositions. And in court, under the solemn weight of a sworn oath, Katt Williams, it's alleged, confirmed it all. The exclusive, almost mythical parties, the ironclad NDAs, designed to silence, the ever-present, often hidden cameras, the careers, like commodities, bought and sold under the sprawling, shadowy empire of one man. And he didn't just mention Diddy, he meticulously, chillingly, exposed an entire interconnected web of celebrities, a constellation of stars who, he claimed, played their part, knowingly or unknowingly, to rise to the top, to maintain their perch, to protect the system that made them. This wasn't a comedy special. It wasn't a viral clip designed for fleeting amusement. It was, by all accounts, a warning, because Katt Williams didn't just pull receipts from a metaphorical folder. He methodically, almost clinically, laid them bare, ensuring the whole world, through the conduit of the court record, saw them. And the people he called out, the transcript suggests a chilling premonition. They may never recover from what he revealed. The courtroom, filled with seasoned legal professionals and hardened journalists, didn't quite know what to make of it at first. A ripple of disbelief, then intense curiosity swept through the gallery. Reporters, their initial skepticism warring, with the undeniable gravity of a sworn federal testimony, whispered urgently to each other. Phones, though officially silenced, buzzed in pockets as text messages flew, attempting to relay the bombshells erupting within those four walls. Social media, beyond the court's immediate reach, began to fracture, then explode into chaos as fragments of information leaked out. But there he was, Katt Williams, transformed, suited up, his usual flamboyant style replaced by a somber, almost funereal solemnity. He walked through the courtroom doors, not as the larger-than-life comedian, but as a federal witness. There was no entourage, no fanfare, just a simple manila folder clutched in one hand and a stare, direct, unblinking, that could, as one observer later noted, pierce through concrete. When he sat down in the witness box and was sworn in, the customary oath echoing in the sudden, profound hush, the courtroom held its breath. And then, with the same distinctive voice that once brought down theaters in gales of laughter, he began. He reportedly told the court that everything they were about to hear wasn't new to him, not by a long shot. He'd been saying versions of it, sometimes obliquely, sometimes directly, for over a decade. But people, he lamented, ignored him, often because of the very vehicle he used to deliver his truths. Comedy. When you make people laugh, he is quoted as saying, his voice devoid of its usual playful cadence. They forget to listen. They're too busy enjoying the ride to see the warning signs on the road. But he insisted, I wasn't just telling jokes. I was slipping facts between the punchlines, hoping someone, anyone, would catch on to the grim reality I was trying to illuminate. Katt then methodically explained how, years ago, he started noticing a disturbing pattern, a recurring theme, in the symphony of Hollywood success. The same select group of celebrities, a kind of revolving inner circle, getting invited to the same exclusive, often secretive events. These individuals would sometimes disappear from public view for a period, only to return, as if by magic, with lucrative movie deals, prestigious awards, or wide-reaching distribution contracts seemingly materializing out of thin air. You'd see a brother, talented maybe, but at the bottom of the A-list one year, Katt allegedly testified, then boom, 3 months after attending a certain kind of party, a party not advertised in Variety, he's starring in blockbusters, his face on every billboard. Then he dropped his first bombshell, a central thesis for his testimony. You want to know the common thread? The nexus. They all spent time in the same circle, orbiting the same sun. Sean Diddy Combs. The court, already attentive, leaned in further. The implications were beginning to dawn. Katt went on to paint a picture of Diddy, not merely as a music mogul or a shrewd businessman, but as something far more influential, far more insidious, the gatekeeper to a darker, transactional side of Hollywood. It ain't about music anymore, he allegedly declared, his gaze sweeping across the courtroom. It hasn't been for a long time. It's about control. Who you know, what you're willing to do, and crucially, what you'll keep quiet about to protect your access and your assent. And then, the testimony took an even more chilling turn. He reportedly said, his voice dropping slightly, I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because if I don't talk now, after all this time, after everything that's come out, I'll be next. Or worse, my silence makes me complicit in what happens to the next generation. With that, the stage was unequivocally set. The court, the press, anyone following the proceedings, knew this wasn't going to be a typical, dry witness testimony. This was going to be a storm, a meticulously documented hurricane, and every name caught in its vortex was about to feel the biting wind of exposure. When the prosecutor, following the script of direct examination, asked Katt to provide names. He didn't flinch, didn't hesitate. There was no coyness, no feigned reluctance. Y'all want names? He reportedly responded, a flicker of his old challenging persona briefly surfacing. Cool, I got names. I got a whole damn phone book of names. If you want he started listing them. One by one, each name a hammer blow against the carefully constructed facade of the entertainment elite. Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Ludacris, LeBron James, T.D. Jakes, Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. Each name sent fresh shockwaves through the already reeling room. These weren't B-list celebrities or vague, distant associates. These were some of the biggest, most influential figures in the global entertainment and cultural landscape. The air crackled with a mixture of disbelief and dawning. Uncomfortable recognition, Katt claimed, with unwavering conviction that they had all, at various points, attended parties, exclusive events, or private meetings hosted or directly facilitated by Diddy and his network. And these gatherings, he stressed, weren't the glamorous, champagne-soaked Hollywood get-togethers the public imagined from glossy magazine spreads. These parties, he allegedly stated, his voice hardening, weren't about celebration. They were about initiation. They were about compromise. They were about collecting leverage. He explained, in disturbing detail, how Diddy purportedly used these events to build an arsenal of influence. Phones were routinely taken at the door, a standard practice perhaps, but here it served a dual purpose, preventing unauthorized recordings by guests, while ensuring only one set of recordings, Diddy would, exist. Non-disclosure agreements, ironclad and terrifying in their scope, were allegedly signed, sometimes under duress or amidst the intoxicating haze of the party itself. And the cameras, Katt insisted, were always rolling, often hidden, capturing moments people thought were private, moments of vulnerability or indiscretion. You think it's a coincidence? He challenged the court, that all these dudes, all these powerful people, toe the same line, protect the same people, parrot the same talking points when things get hot. Nah, they know. They know they're being watched, or worse, they know they've been recorded. Katt claimed Diddy didn't just stumble upon dirt. He meticulously collected it, sometimes even manufactured it. Tapes, photos, emails, digital footprints, all stored, he alleged, as a potent form of insurance. He doesn't just collect blackmail, Katt reportedly asserted, he manufactures it. People walk into those parties relatively clean, or at least with their secrets intact. They leave with something on them, something indelible. They can't scrub off, no matter how hard they try. And then he pointed out the patterns, the telltale signs visible to anyone.